Hello everyone, this is part 6 of What If Naruto Went Back to the Past, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. The next day Manao Haruno walked down the street toward the Namika's compound. Slowly he walked toward the front door and knocked. When the door opened he saw his daughter standing there. "Hello father," said Sakura as she glared at him. "Hello Sakura, may I come in?" asked Manao. "Why? So that you can insult my husband again?" growled Sakura. "No please, I will not insult Naruto, I just want to talk," said Manao as Sakura looked at him for a second before letting him in. She led him to one of the couches. He sat on one and she sat across from him with a glass coffee table between them. "So what do you want to talk about? How I ruined my life, it's under the control of a demon or some new insult," said Sakura. "No, I came to say I am sorry," said Manao as Sakura's eyes widened. "I must have been an ass to you and Naruto in the future for you to hate me and your mother like you do now. Yeah. Disowning me and trying everything to break up our marriage kind of made you an ass. Also not coming to our wedding didn't help either," said Sakura. "I see, well that is a reason to hate us. Now understand you don't like Naruto and I wish you would have gotten together with someone else, but in the end it is your choice not mine," said Manao as Sakura still glared at him but a little less harshly. "And no matter what, I and your mother will always love you. I know you do, but that still didn't give mother the right to slap my husband for something that a married couple do," said Sakura. "Yeah, your mother is going to take longer to get over it than me. When you were born she talked about all the things she wanted to do with you. She couldn't wait to give you advice about life, boys and other girl stuff," said Manao. Sakura let out a deep breath. "Dad, no matter how much I may have hated what you would have done, you're still my father and I will always love you. However, it will take time for me to get over the pain that your future self did," said Sakura. "You wouldn't be your mother's daughter if you didn't act like her," said Manao with a grin as a little blonde hair girl walked into the room carrying a glass of milk. Manao's eyes widened. "Blonde hair? Naruto has blonde, could they had brought back the daughter and not tell us?" "Good morning Emi," said Sakura. "Morning Auntie Sakura, where is Uncle Naruto?" asked Emi. "He's in town getting food," said Sakura. "Oh Dad, I would you like you to meet Emi, she is the Hokage's daughter from our time. Sasuke and Hinata brought her back and we got her back." "The Hokage's daughter?" asked Manao as he took another look at the girl. She did look like the Hokage. "Yes, she is. She is spending a few days with us before moving in with her mom," said Sakura. Meanwhile at the Hokage's office, Chuji, Ino, Shino, Kiba and their sensei stood in front of Tsunade. "As you guys know, your teams are broken apart. Hinata and Shikamaru can't be on your squads anymore. Therefore we are reforming your squads." "We understand Lady Hokage," said Ino as the rest nodded their heads. "Alright, since I don't want you guys to be in 3-man squads, so I am putting all you guys together on the same squad and your sensei will also be with you all," said Tsunade. "So a 6-man squad?" asked Kiba. "Yes. Now start training because you guys will start taking on more important missions," said Tsunade as the genin left. "Lady Tsunade, is there something on your mind? You don't seem yourself," said Shizune as Tsunade looked at her. "Shizune, I have always thought of you as a daughter," said Tsunade. "Why thank you Lady Tsunade," said Tsunade wondering where her master was going. "Do you remember the little girl Naruto and his team brought through the gates yesterday?" asked Tsunade. "Yes, I do. Did you find out who she is?" asked Shizune. "Yes, I did," said Tsunade. "She is another time traveler that Sasuke and Hinata brought back. She was captured during the fall of our village and was placed under mind control but is now free." "Who is she, my lady?" "She is my daughter," said Tsunade as Shizune's eyes widened. "Your daughter?" asked Shizune, trying to make sure she had heard was right. "Her name is Emi. Me and the pervert got really drunk at your future wedding and the old pervert got to me," said Tsunade as a thought ran through the back of her mind. "Maybe I got to him." "I see," said Shizune. "So do you want me to clean a room at the Hokage's mansion?" "No, I did that last night. I just thought I would tell you before she moves in. Also alert me when the pervert gets back. Well, I am back, said Jiraiya as he appeared, so what I have missed. In Rice Country. All the bases have been moved, my lord. We are building them where you asked, but it is slow work, said a sound Junin as he knelt before Sasuke, who was sitting on a throne with Hinata standing behind him to the right. Good, now leave us, said Sasuke as the sound ninja walked out. I hate setbacks. As do I, dear husband, but this is only a minor setback, said Hinata. True, wife, but every setback is a victory for the dupe and his team, and I can't wait to see that damn village burn into nothingness, said Sasuke. I also can't wait to see those fires, but we can't enjoy them without doing this first, said Hinata, knowing that if anyone but her ever raised that point to him they would be S, and even then she was pushing the limits of her husband's temper. True, woman, said Sasuke as he looked at the watch. It was getting into the late evening. He stood up and looked at Hinata. Now, woman, let's retire to bed. Let's, dear husband, said Hinata as she followed her husband. Back in the Leaf Village, Sakura laid in her and Naruto's bed, her head resting on his chest as she listened to his heartbeat inside him. It was slow along with his breathing. He was sound asleep, however she wasn't. Too many worries filled her head even after she made somewhat peace with her father. It was her mother that always hated Naruto the most. Also the unknown of who was the fourth person that Sasuke and Hinata brought back with them. What is it, Sakura-chan? Said Naruto suddenly. Nothing, Naruto-kun, just go back to sleep, said Sakura. I will as soon as you tell me what's wrong, Naruto said while yawning. It's just I am worried about what will happen. I don't want to see our village burn again, said Sakura as Naruto pulled her closer to himself. Sakura-chan, do you remember what I said to you on our wedding day? Yeah, said Sakura with a smile as she thought back to that warm sunny June day. You said no matter what happens in our future we will face it together. That's right, my vixen, and that I will always protect you, said Naruto as Sakura smiled at Naruto's nickname for her. And I will always protect you, my fox, said Sakura as she buried her face into the thin shirt he was wearing as he wrapped her up tighter and she started to nod off. Thanks, Naruto-kun, you always find a way to make me feel safe. You don't have to thank me, Sakura-chan. Now let's get some sleep, yawned Naruto as the two of them drifted off to sleep. Unknown location. So we lost the demon, said Konan as she looked at the Akatsuki members gathered again. Yes, we were beaten by the sound ninjas. She had already been gone a few days, said Kakazu. We followed the trail to the ocean before losing it. I see, so we have lost 5 demons in less than 2 weeks, said Pain as he appeared. First we lost the 9 tails, then the 1-tailed, then the 2, the 3 and the 5. Sir, we do have the 8, 7 and 4-tailed demons and we can overpower all the others, said Deidara. 3 out of 9, 3 out of 9, said Pain calmly. Do you really think I am pleased with that? Of course not, but it is likely that Itachi's little brother sealed the 2 demons he has, and once we get them, and the 6-tailed that Orochimaru took with him, said Deidara. For your sake I hope so, said Pain before looking at Itachi. Itachi, how did the Namikazes do in battle? They are at least Sannin level and their bloodline limit is very strong. I didn't get a look at it with my Mangekyo, but what worries me is what Hinata Uchiha said Itachi as the other Akatsuki members looked at him. Okay, if Itachi is worried about something we all should be, asked Deidara. It would appear that my brother has the perfected Mangekyo Sharingan and that is bad, said Itachi. I thought you had the perfected Mangekyo Sharingan, said Konan. He doesn't, he only has level 1 Mangekyo and level 2 is the perfected version, said Pain. So your little brother is a level higher than you, said Konan. Yes, that is what worries me. At that level, if almost anyone looks into his eyes when they're like that, it would mean almost certain death. Right now he is among the top 5 most sly ninjas on the face of this planet. Why don't we make an alliance with him and the Sound instead of the weak Leaf Village? Asked Deidara. Because he would K you all, said a new voice as a man with broken glasses and a stump for an arm dragged in. Ah, Kabuto, said Pain, I was wondering when you would drag yourself down here. Well, thank you for your help. As Sasuke Uchiha's messenger, I must inform you of this. He wants only power and will share it with no one. Believe me when I say this, that he will K anyone who stands in his way or he deems a threat, said Kabuto as he fell to the ground. Pain nodded his head toward the body. Konan walked over and reached down and picked up the body before disappearing. There are no alliances with the sound, they must be destroyed in order for us to rule. Now go find out where their bases are and report back to me. Ordered Pain as the Akatsuki members disappeared. Ino and Chuji walked toward a meeting with their new team only to run into Kiba and Shino at the base of the Hokage's tower. Well, good morning, said Kiba as Akamaru barked. Good morning, you guys, said Chuji as he started to eat his first bag of chips. Slowly they climbed the steps to the Hokage's office only to see their senseis waiting outside the door. Soon Shizune walked out of the office. Lady Tsunade is ready for you, said Shizune as the Genin team walked into the room. Good, you're all here, said Tsunade as she looked at the 6 people who stood in front of her. You guys are going to sea country to guard a money ship. Cool, said Kiba. We are going as well, said a new voice as they looked to see Naruto, Sakura and a blonde-haired girl sitting on the windowsill. Hello Naruto, Sakura, Emi, said Tsunade with a smile as the 3 of them jumped down. Shikamaru and Temari are at the gates waiting for us, we're all heading to sea country. You see there is a sound base and laboratory on a nearby island, said Sakura, and Emi is here to move in with you. Well, I guess I am taking the rest of the day off, said Tsunade as the little girl smiled and nodded her head. Yes, you are mommy, said Emi as the Genin and 2 Junin eyes widened. Sakura laughed before explaining. Emi is Tsunade's daughter from our time, Sasuke kped her and brought her back and we freed her, said Sakura. So old lady, do you mind if we tag along with them? Asked Naruto. Go ahead but keep them safe, said Tsunade. Believe me, we saw them once, we don't want to see that again, whispered Naruto so that only Tsunade and Sakura could hear before adding, for everyone, we will meet them at the gate. As the 2 Sanins left, Tsunade turned to the remaining Genin. Now listen up, on this mission you guys might see some strange things and stay out of Naruto and his team way and you will all follow their orders if you run into trouble. We understand, said Asuma as they all left, and a few minutes later the 6 of them walked to the gates to find Shikamaru, Temari, Naruto and Sakura waiting for them. Without a word the 10 of them headed down the road. In the village. Sorry, I didn't know what room you had in your timeline, so I just gave you the one closest to me, said Tsunade as she opened the door of one of the rooms in the Hokage's house. This is great, mommy, said Emi as she jumped on the bed, causing Tsunade to smile. Suddenly she stopped jumping and looked to the doorway. Daddy, Tsunade turned to see Jiraiya standing there. Emi ran to Jiraiya and hugged him. She couldn't help but smile as Jiraiya played with the girl's hair, making her laugh as a little voice started to speak to her in the back of her head. You know, if you hadn't been so hard on him and left after Orochimaru left, you two could have gotten together, said the voice. Okay, first thing, he is a pervert, second he is an idiot, and third he is a pervert. So tell me why I would want to be with him, asked Tsunade back. First, he has loved you since your Genin days, second, you know that perverts can be very fun, and lastly, you love him too, said the voice back. Suddenly Tsunade was snapped back to reality. Are you awake, old lady? Said Jiraiya as he waved a hand in front of Tsunade's face. Without warning she punched Jiraiya into the wall. Emi stood there looking at her dad before she started laughing. On the road. We have been walking for hours and the 4 of them haven't spoken a word, said Ino to Chuji. Well, remember that Shikamaru was always quiet, said Chuji. True, but what about Naruto? I mean, before he was always talking, you couldn't get him to shut up, said Ino as Naruto suddenly spoke. Let's stop for some lunch and a rest, said Naruto as the rest nodded their head. They stopped in a small clearing by a river. Chuji got out his huge meal and the others got out their meals. The 4 time travelers sat by together and didn't seem to talk while they eat. They are really different on a mission, said Kiba as Ino stood up and walked toward Sakura. Sakura, may I ask you something that has been bothering me? Sure. What is it, Ino? Said Sakura. Well, I just don't understand why Hinata would betray the village, asked Ino as Sakura and the others lowered their heads. Ino, I forget, do you know how to do the memory display jutsu yet? Asked Sakura. Yeah, I learned it right before the Chunin exams. Why? Oh, I get it, you want me to display your memory for everyone to see, said Ino. No, I want you to show Naruto-kun's memories, said Sakura as Naruto nodded his head. However, there is no way to be for sure he telling the truth if I do that jutsu because he will control what memories I see, said Ino. True, just trust us on this one. We will explain everything as it happens. said Naruto. Shikamaru, Temari set some traps, we don't want to be caught unprepared. With that, Temari and Shikamaru disappeared as Ino ran through some hand signs before placing one hand on Naruto's forehead and the other into a ram hand signs. Suddenly an elation appeared around them. It was the village's main market. The street was filled with people on a bright sunny day. This is 6 years in the future that would have happened, said Naruto as another of him appeared out of a shop, only he was younger looking and on a black and orange jacket with orange pants. A few seconds later Kiba and a much larger Akamaru appeared out of the same shop. So you got the one you wanted, fox brat, said Kiba with a grin. Yes, I did, Kiba. Did you get yours? Asked Naruto with a huge grin on his face. Of course, now we can only hope the girls like them, said Kiba as a new person walked up to them. She was dressed in white and had her brown hair up in small buns. Hey Tenten, how is the wedding planning going? Said Naruto. Fine, I just hate that I have to follow all those Hyuga traditions and rules for my wedding, said Tenten. It gives me such a headache sometimes. Think about how many hoops I had to jump through to marry Neji-kun next month. It will be worth it in the end, said another voice as a man dressed in a Junin outfit and a mask pulled up to his nose and his headband covering his left eye. Kakashi-sensei, shouldn't you and Shizune be doing the final details for your wedding tomorrow? Asked Naruto. I am, said Kakashi as he held up a small bag. Shizune wanted some river rocks to help the flower vases to stay upright. I see, guys, I need to take care of something fast, said Naruto as he disappeared in a yellow flash and reappeared on a rooftop. In front of him stood Hinata, but this Hinata wasn't wearing black, instead she was wearing a large jacket with white stubble leaves and a light purple center. Hinata, how many times do I have to tell you to stop staking me? I don't want to take this to the old lady, so this has to stop. Naruto-kun, said Hinata as she looked at the rooftop below her. I am only trying T2. I will tell you what you're trying to do, Hinata. You're trying to find a way to break me and Sakura-chan up. Am I right? Asked Naruto as he looked at Hinata. At her silence he frowned. I take that as a yes. Now listen Hinata, you and I are friends, but I just don't love you like that, okay? Said Naruto as Hinata continued to stay silent. Listen Hinata, tomorrow at Kakashi-sensei and Shizune's wedding I am going to ask Sakura-chan to marry me. What? You can't do that. We are meant to be together, yelled Hinata at the top of her lungs. I can, and I will propose to the woman of my dreams who I have been dating for 3 years, said Naruto as he glared at Hinata. What does she have that I don't? I have always been kind to you. I never made fun of you and I would never ever hit you. I would love you, I would let you do whatever you want, said Hinata as Naruto shook his head. That is my point, Hinata. You would let me do whatever I want. I need someone who will yell at me when I do something wrong, who stands up for herself. I don't want a woman who is like what your clan teaches women to act like, said Naruto. But Naruto-kun, a woman's place is to listen to her husband and to serve him, said Hinata as she repeated what the woman of her clan had taught her. That is it, Hinata. I don't want a slave, I want a wife, and to your clan they are almost one in the same, and you Hinata are following their rules, said Naruto before looking down at his watch. Now Hinata, I have to go meet Sakura-chan for lunch. Now if I ever caught you spying on me or breaking into mine and Sakura-chan's apartment again, I will report you to the Hokage. Slowly the image faded. That day Hinata started on her downward fall. She started to withdraw herself from social actives and started taking on solo missions. That is when we believe she ran into Sasuke or hunted him down to join him, we aren't sure. She got the curse mark, then became a spy. She started working as Shizune's apprentice and got to see all the files that the Hokage sees and passed that information on to Sasuke. Later she leads Kiba and Shino into an ambush. Shino, you gave your life to save Kiba's, said Naruto. Thanks buddy, said Kiba. I have one more thing to show you, said Naruto as the image changed. All around them was fire and smoke. The smell of burning F filled the air, making Chuji throw up his lunch. Slowly Naruto appeared. He was kneeling over a pair of Kiba's and Ino's. Why? Damn it, why? Why do so many people have to S? Yelled Naruto as he slammed his fist into the ground, causing blood to come out of his fist. Sakura then appeared and placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder. Naruto-kun, we have to move, the sound are attacking again, said Sakura. There is nothing we can do for them anymore, at least they are at peace. Yeah, they're at peace, but there is one thing we can do for them, said Naruto as he started to run through some hand signs. Slowly Ino's and Kiba's bee started to sink into the dirt. We can at least bury them. They don't deserve to be eaten by the birds. Yeah, said Sakura as she watched her best friend finish sinking into the ground. Both of them turned to leave when a large white dog came limping out of the rumble. Akamaru. Woof, said Akamaru weakly as Sakura ran over and started healing him, but Akamaru shook her away. The two Namakazes watched as the dog limped over to where his family members were buried together. He is going to stay with them, Sakura-chan, he is going to guard them, said Naruto as he walked over to the dog. There is no way to convince you to come with us, is there? Woof, barked Akamaru as he shook his head. I knew it, you're going to protect them until US, said Naruto with a sad smile, they would be happy. Good luck. Finally the image faded. That is the future, we come from a future of death and pain, said Sakura. Now do you understand why we had to come back? I don't know what we could say besides thank you, said Ino as she broke the jutsu. There is one thing you guys could do for us, said Sakura. What? Live, said both Namakazes at the same time. The next day the 6 ninjas of the Konoha walked into the port city. Something is wrong, said Naruto as the genin looked around. It looks like a happy village, said Chuji. That is my point, when I was here originally as a genin this place was horrible, said Naruto as the sound of clapping came over the air and the village disappeared. In its place came a ruined place filled with SB. Only 2 people stood in front of them. Well, I didn't expect you 4 idiots to come along, but no matter, said a tall pale white-skinned man. He had a sword strapped to his back and had black pants, purple slash and an open black shirt. Next to him stood Hinata. Sasuke, said Naruto. Hello Naruto, long time no see, said Sasuke as his eyes turned red and his Sharingan glared at the former friend as Naruto's and Sakura's eyes also turned red with the animal S of the Kyuubi. Not long either for me, Snake, said Naruto. Now what in the world are you doing here? Well, I was planning on killing some of your friends since you got Emi, but looks like we will just have to kill you instead. I will not let that happen, growled Naruto as Sasuke smiled. Just as I hoped, said Sasuke as he pulled out his sword. The blade of the sword was completely black, even the handle was black. This is Sasuke, thought Ino as she fought the need to throw up at the sight of this pale, almost white-skinned man with glowing red eyes that made her skin crawl and her knees shake. How could I have ever loved that monster? She looked around to see Sakura and Kurenai already had kunais out. Both Shikamaru and Asuma had their knuckle knives out. Temari had her fan ready and the other genin were in a defensive stance. As fast as lighting, Ino grabbed her kunai and went to stand by her friends. You might as well pull it out now, Naruto, said Sasuke as Naruto glared at him before slowly reaching into his jacket and pulling out a scroll. Suddenly the scroll disappeared. In its place Naruto held a sword of his own. This sword looked like a normal Anbu sword, only the handle was white instead of the traditional black and a red jewel boned the blade to the handle. It can't be, said Asuma as he looked at the sword. Asuma-sensei, what is so great about that sword? Asked Chuji. This is my father's sword, said Naruto as Chuji and the others understood it was the sword of the 4th Hokage. Now you 6 get out of here, leave this to us. But we want to help, yelled Ino. No, we must fall back, they are too strong for us, we would only be in their way, said Shino. Oh, I don't think so, said Sasuke as he suddenly charged forward faster than any of the genin or the 2 Junin senseis had seen. Ino stood there frozen in fear as the tip of the blade was stopped inches from her face by Naruto's own blade. Leave them alone, your fight is with me, said Naruto as red chakra formed around his body and the sword itself. Well, there is always time to kill them later, hissed Sasuke as purple chakra danced around him and his sword as well. Ino, run, all of you run, let us take care of this. Temari Shikamaru, go with them, said Sakura as the red chakra danced around her as well. Ino was about to protest when suddenly she felt someone grab her around her waist and lifted her up a little. Time to go, said Kiba into her ear as she felt the wind rush past her. Well, now that those pests are gone we can have some real fun, said Sasuke. Let's skip the warm-ups and get down the real action, said Naruto as he tossed off his jacket. So he was standing there in a black Junin jacket with shorts to believes the old Anbu tattoo visible on his right arm, on his lower arm 2 arm braces wrapped around his forearms, but his hands were free. While he did this, the demon chakra finished forming 3 tails behind him. As you wish, said Sasuke as black tattoos wrapped around his entire body and 2 wings sprouted out of his back. At the same time, Sakura had finished her demon chakra transformation as 2 red demon tails danced behind her. Hinata smiled as black tattoos ran across her body. When they finished, her skin was completely white, her eyes were black, and fingernails had been turned into sharp pointed claws and small fangs came out of her mouth. On a nearby hill, Kiba-kun, let me go, yelled Ino as Kiba let her go. Sorry, you were frozen and we had to get out of there, said Kiba as 4 huge chakra spikes came from below. Wow, is this their power? Asked Asuma as his cigarette fell out of his mouth. This is just the tip of iceberg, said Shikamaru as several large explosions happened at the same time. Looks like they're skipping the warm-ups, said Temari. Wait a second, did you just call me Kiba-kun? Asked Kiba as Ino blushed a deep shade of red. Back in the village, Sasuke jumped up over Naruto's sword slash. Is that all you got? Said Sasuke as his Sharingan eye went into Mangekyo. However, Naruto's demon eyes cancelled out most of the power of that form. The only benefit it gave Sasuke was faster reacting time. Naruto growled as 4 shadow clones appeared. Please idiot, you always use the same moves over and over again. When are you going to use something new? When are you going to stop using that Sharingan of yours? Growled Naruto as he charged forward, his sword inches above the ground. 2 clones followed with their swords while the other 2 started to form Razingans. Sasuke formed some hand signs before breathing out a giant fireball that engulfed Naruto and his clones. Meanwhile, Hinata was fighting Sakura's kunai against her sharp claws. You know, Hinata, you are a monster in this form. I feel best in this form, you pink hair bee, said Hinata as Sakura's red eyes narrowed. We foxes aren't best, we're vixens, yelled Sakura as one of her chakra tails swung around, hitting Hinata across her face. Hinata jumped back as a huge burn mark appeared across the right side of her face. I will make you pay for that, Namikaze, said Hinata as she lifted her hand to her face where some blood was coming out of. Summoning jutsu, yelled Hinata as a huge blue snake appeared. Instantly the snake's head snapped toward Sakura, its long poison-filled fangs out. Sakura threw some kunais with explosive tags around them into the mouth of the snake before jumping away. The explosions forced the snake to snap its head back up away from Sakura. Back with Sasuke and Naruto, as the Fireball S1, Naruto stood there looking at Sasuke. I see you don't like my clones, because you know full well that the demon chakra protects me and Sakura-chan from fire-based attack. Well, having one of you around is too much for me to stand, however I will fix that problem right now, yelled Sasuke as he tossed 4 shuriken which Naruto blocked. However, Sasuke was only inches away from him, his sword tipped ready. Naruto ducked Sasuke's sword swipe as he brought his own sword into action. Sasuke had left his entire chest open to attack. Time to snake, yelled Naruto as he aimed his sword right at Sasuke's heart. However, right before it hit, one of Sasuke's wings came crashing down on Naruto's side, sending him flying into a wall. Naruto slowly stood up from the rubble. He looked at his sword to see red blood on the tip. He turned to Sasuke, who had red blood running down his chest. A lucky hit. Well, it is time for me to finish it. I don't care if it takes so much of my chakra, I will KO you with this, said Sasuke as he closed his eyes. Naruto knew what was going to happen. Sasuke was bring out his ultimate weapon, the perfect Sharingan. Naruto looked at Sasuke's feet, thanking God that guy had taught him how to read people by their feet movement. As Sasuke opened his eyes to show the perfect Sharingan, it looked almost the same as a regular Mangekyo Sharingan, only what was red was now black and what was black is now white. Sakura flew through the air as the giant snake with Hinata on top tired to regain its attack stance. Looks like I am going to have to fight a summon with summon, thought Sakura as she landed on the ground and bit her thumb before running through hand signs. Summoning jutsu, a large ball of smoke appeared, and out of that smoke appeared a large one-tailed white fox. Lady Sakura, said the fox as Sakura landed on her head. It's been too long, Katara, said Sakura as she spoke to her fox summon. She could have called out the Kyuubi, but the Kyuubi only truly listened to Naruto, and even then that wasn't true all the time. Looks like we have the snake lady again, said Katara. Yep, only this time feel free to cut loose, there are no people around, only my husband and the other snake, said Sakura as Katara grinned. That is what I like to hear, said Katara as she backed up into a spring stance and sprung toward the blue snake, mouth wide open as saliva dripped off her fangs. Come on, scared cat, look into my eyes, said Sasuke. Oh, I don't think so, said Naruto as he started to run through hand and a huge mist appeared. Do you really think something like that will stop me? Said Sasuke as he formed some hand signs and breathed another fireball that started to evaporate the water that formed the mist. Soon the mist was clear and Naruto still stood where he was before. See, dope, you're just wasting my time, why don't you give up and let me KO you? I don't think so, said Naruto as Sasuke noticed his eyes started to hurt him and he was forced to lower his Sharingan down to a level 3. Because Shikamaru and Temari figured out that you can only use your perfected Sharingan for a few minutes and with your curse mark you're draining your chakra too fast. Very smart, dope, but you know that you can't stay in your demon form that long either. It gives you a short-term boost of chakra but you can't keep it up, said Sasuke as Naruto's demon tails disappeared, however the red eyes remained. Well, when all else fails. With that both Naruto and Sasuke bit their thumbs. Summoning jutsu, yelled both of them, as a giant purple snake appeared and a giant red nine-tailed fox appeared. Sakura, like Naruto, had been forced back into her normal red-eyed form through kunais at Hinata, who also had to go back to her normal self. Sakura's summons had the body of the blue snake in her mouth, but the snake had wrapped its tail around the fox's end as it tried to bite her. However, the two of them stopped and looked at the head summons. Well, looks like we are back in the same spot, QB. Hissed the giant purple snake Manda. I will just have to L your tea out, you snake, growled QB as his 9 tails trashed, destroying every building that was still standing before he lunged at the snake. Back on the hill. My god, said Ino as she placed her hand to her mouth, looking at the battlefield below and the QB fighting a giant snake, while another white fox fought a blue snake. They can do that? Asked Kiba as he started to shake a little. Even their Junin senseis shook a little at the terrible power coming from below. Only Shikamaru and Temari stood calm. They can, said Shikamaru, and it will get worse if Sasuke and Hinata have their way. How can it be worse? Asked Ino. Every day and every minute is like this. You hear the screams, the crying and the smell of death. You see your friends leave for battle and none return. You go into battle only to see everyone fall around you. Then there are the fires, said Shikamaru. The never-ending fires, that burn all day and night. The fire turns the day into a never-ending night. A never-ending night of pain and death that takes so many lives, finished Temari as she picked up right where her husband stopped. That sounds horrible, said Ino. That is what war is, said Shikamaru. Back on the battlefield. This is going bad. I was a fool to engage Naruto in this style of fight, and he loves it when no one is at risk. Thought Sasuke, he hates seeing innocent people hurt, so if I fall back and regroup and attack again when there is a large group on people, I will hold the cards. Hinata, we are falling back, said Sasuke as Hinata jumped next to him as her summon got ked and they were now facing 2 very bloodthirsty foxes. We will regroup and hit them later. As you order, Sasuke-kun, said Hinata as she started to run through hand signs. Suddenly a blinding flash of light caused even the QB to close his eyes. When the light Sasuke, Hinata and Manda were gone. Soon afterward the both fox summons disappeared back to the summon world. Sakura-chan, are you alright? Asked Naruto as he ran over to his wife. I was about to ask you the same question, said Sakura as she hugged her husband. All I know is that I am going to feel very sore in the morning, said Naruto as he took in his mate's scent. You and me both, said Sakura as she buried her head into Naruto's chest as the others appeared. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.